And if you look back at the history of Hawaii related to the business community, growing up, even when I got when I was in high school, my first job was to work at the cannery, okay? But there was a network of Hawaiians in business. They weren't necessarily entrepreneurs. But what had happened in the history of Hawaiians is that the typical Hawaiian, and of course primarily male in those days because the wives stayed home, right? Was the dads went to work for the big five. They worked for the utilities, but they weren't at the top. Sometimes you could even think that they were the go-between between the haole luna and the working man.
Not many Hawaiians were used to being in businesses or been exposed to businesses. Could be education. I heard you mention before that Kamehameha schools, the college prep side, you only had 30 out of 100 some odd people. And they didn't teach business in the lower grades or in high school, so people who graduated from schools in Hawaii and didn't go on to college didn't have a clue as to what business was really about.
Well, I think there was a great feeling of wanting to be recognized because, this was just before, I would say, the Hawaiian Renaissance, and we had just come off the wars as far as the Korean and the Vietnam conflicts. And so people and guys were coming back, but just starting off and getting involved in business. And as I said, there was, a lot of good young Hawaiians in business, but not being recognized. And so there was a need to feel that, young Hawaiian entrepreneurs should be recognized, and that's why we got together.
The atmosphere and the conditions were, and this is now, I remember in the early 70s, is we were turning the corner. It's funny how we were part of that pre-Renaissance. All of a sudden, we were breaking out. It was time for us to be recognized, not be part of, okay? Hawaiians in business didn't think of themselves as Hawaiian businessmen. They thought of them as businessmen that happened to be Hawaiians.
I thought that it was about time that the Hawaiians formed a Chamber of Commerce, and I knew at that time that they couldn't use the name because some wahine had registered the name, and I can't remember her name.
Yeah, Mama Loa. Who's Mama Loa? Oh, this nice Hawaiian lady goes by the name Mama Loa. She has a name. We don't know why. So we organized a meeting with this Mama Loa. I can't remember where we went, but we had it all covered. Buddy was there, and a couple of younger guys were there, and we met with her, and we told her the story, how we wanted to form this organization. And very gracious Hawaiian lady, she says, "That is really nice. I've been waiting for you young men to come forward. It should be worth about $5,000. What?
Well, the very first thing was enthusiasm to get organized and be recognized. I think this was a period also in Hawaiian history that Hawaiians were not recognized, and people in business usually refer to the Chinese, Japanese, and the others involved in business, and Hawaiians were said to be, well, you folks, are either smart enough or not organized enough, and those of us that were involved in trying to start businesses and be involved, many were, as I said, were very prominent, and we wanted to be recognized.
To get recognition of being in business and Hawaiian, and the fact that more small businesses were coming about at about that time that Hawaiians got into, the recognition was necessary.
I really strongly, especially now at my age, I sure would like to see the younger Hawaiians know about the organization and feel they can gravitate to the organization for kukua. In other words, whether they graduate from Punahou, Kamehameha, any school as a Hawaiian, they know there's an organization called the Native Hawaiian Chamber, first of all, that they can go to and meet practicing Hawaiian business people. And if that's their inclination when they go away to college or whatever they do, when they start their new business, that the Hawaiian Chamber is there to help them grow and succeed.